I have 5 daughters by my first marriage, and they're all 4 of them live here in Portland, and one lives in Michigan. And I have 11 grandchildren, because out of 5 daughters, you're going to get 2 at least. And I have 23 great grandchildren, and I have 1 great great grandson. At 100, you can have that. When Dorothy and I, my wife, went out in 1948, was to go to Irian to Papua. And we begged for that at the council meeting that summer. And they said, nope, you're going to Borneo. We need you in Borneo. And I'm glad they did. But what I'm getting at is, it's because I was imprisoned by the Japanese that I met the Christian Missionary Alliance. I would have never been able to get into real full-scale missionary work had I not gone to that, had I not been imprisoned. So I see that as a providence of God. The Islamic people would help the Christians build a church, and the Christian people would help the Islamics to build a mosque. There was no friction. Each went their own way, but they helped each other. That shows you the type of Islamic religion that they have there is a tolerant, lenient type. As I've often said, I'm not afraid to walk around in the middle of Jakarta at night at any time. The most they'll do is rob you. That happens, but they'll never hurt you. They'll rob you. It's a great country. It's a great country. We started a bank. I drew up a project for Cambodia to help, because there were hundreds and maybe thousands of men without legs and arms that had been severely beaten or dismembered, and a lot of them were killed. There were thousands of widows that had no income, but they could sew, or they could do this, or sell donuts or something along the highway if they just could get the money and the training. So I said, boy, we've got to do something. So we did, and they gave me the money, and we set up a program in Cambodia. And what happened was that they would get, say, $10, these widows. They'd buy something and sell some things along this highway, come back for their next loan, pay back the 10. They'd come back for 10, we'd give them 20. They'd do their thing, come back with the 20, plus the 1%, we'd give them 30 or 40. Pretty soon they could come in and get 100. Pretty soon they were coming in for 200, and they bought sewing machines, or they bought stoves, or they bought something to cook, for cooking to sell and things like that. And on the side, we took care of the children. They had to go to school. We saw to it that they put in latrines, which they'd never had, and all of that. But we had about 300 units of 20 widows. And you know what? That grew, and the last time I heard, which was about 3 years ago, they had 15,000 participants, women, involved in the program, in that banking program. 15,000. I was so elated to hear that program really took off. Bridge of the River Kwai. I went out almost totally devoid of a formal professional education. I've picked it up, whether it was in theology or in business. So for the last 20, 30 years, I've been a business consultant. And I take pride in it. I mean, I really did help people. I really did. But learn as you go has really been the how it worked. That's all I can say. That's how it worked. I didn't know, but I learned as I went along, and people helped me too, and that's the way it went.
With the concept of Lego, how does that apply? Did it apply, and if so, how did that apply to your role of being a husband and of being a father?
I don't think it had anything to do with it.
Okay.
Yeah, that I could think about. There's no connection.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like when you got married and when you became a father and had more children.
Yeah. Well, they was just the family. You
Yeah.
take care of them. I'm talking
Okay.
when Lego, it applies completely 100% to my work career.
To your work career.
Yeah, nothing
Okay.
else. No, nothing
Okay.
else.
Is there a parallel version of that for the family life?
No,
Like,
not
how
at all.
did you know what to do when you and your wife had a fight? Or how did you know what to do? How did you know how to handle a situation when one of your kids acted out or felt very sad or
Well,
I don't know.
now you're talking about a totally different thing when you get into the family life and
Yeah.
things like that. I suppose it was just a normal family life, when they needed a spanking, I gave it to them. When they didn't, they didn't. I mean, I don't remember giving very many spankings. And had a good married life. There's no connection to me at all with the two.
Okay.
As a father and husband, you had to have a job, and that was my prime thing. And as I say, I've only been out of a job in my whole life for about 3 months. So they just came. The jobs just came. I was able to take care of the family, provide for them. I don't recollect ever any other time going on welfare or borrowing money from a family member. No, God always provided me with a job. I was going to say, so that's about all I can answer on that. And just a normal family life. Yeah. I think probably the one thing that I would, if I had to do my whole life over again, I would try to find jobs that kept me more at home. You know, when you're as a missionary, especially in Borneo and places, in those days you didn't have a car, there was no roads, there was no buses, you went by dugout canoe. If you went even to just a village a day's upright, you'd be gone for several days. And like that one trip that we made together with Herman Dixon, we were gone 4 months, which in a plane we could have done in a couple of days, you know. But that was something that I didn't like, was being away from home so much. Yeah, I didn't like that very much. But that's the price you pay. I love Indonesia. If it weren't for my daughters here, I'd probably be there. There's just something about the Indonesian people over. See, I resided there for over 40 some years, 40 to 50 years. So it's in my blood. The language, the customs, the food, the way they do things. It's just part of me now. I'm too young to be 100. That's the point. I'm too young to be 100.